Joining me now to talk about it, Caitlin Huey-Burns, political reporter for Real Clear Politics. Evan Siegfried, a Republican strategist. Former Governor Bill Richardson is back with me. Let's talk, can we, just about the weight that this president holds in these primaries. He has, there's no doubt about it. He's bragged about it, Caitlin, and he's been right about it. He clearly has influenced some of the outcomes of earlier races, but he hasn't endorsed anybody here yet.
It is very telling, but remember when Jeff Flake was announcing his retirement, it was because he wouldn't be able to survive a Republican primary in this age of Donald Trump. And we've been talking about Arizona. Let's also think about Florida hosting some primaries tonight as well in the governor's race there. Adam Putnam versus Ron DeSantis. Of course, DeSantis, very strong supporter of the president, has been endorsed by the president, and that endorsement moved him up to, to become the leader in this race. And so in these states, it's all about Donald Trump. It's all about these candidates trying to endear themselves to this president in the primary. But states like Florida and Arizona, as we know, changing demographics, becoming more, less red over time. Swing states, they have to kind of pivot in some ways to the center, and we'll see whether that endorsement hangs over as a cloud or a boost.
Yeah, and there's another big picture question here, because obviously Senator McCain's name is not on the ballot, Governor, but I do wonder if who he is and how much we're talking about the kind of politician he is will have any influence or inform how people vote. And I want you to listen to what the Princeton professor and MSNBC contributor Eddie Glaude said. He talked about this very thing just late yesterday.
Well, I disagreed with almost every bit of John McCain's politics, but I found him a principled politician, a principled statesman. And I think a lot of the grief in the country today around Senator McCain's death stands as a proxy of what we actually want and desire. Even though I disagree with him probably on everything, I recognize something that's lost. So as we long and we grieve, we're actually wondering whether or not the kind of man that Senator McCain was is possible now in the age of Trump.
Do you think, Governor, that in part the way this country is reacting, they're grieving for the loss of Senator McCain, is grieving for what we have lost as a country in our politicians? And is Senator McCain the last of his kind?
Yes, Chris, he's the last of his kind. And I think the country is grieving and wanting the McCain kind of politics, bipartisanship, finding common ground on issues like immigration, like what he did on health care, because on principle he felt the Affordable Care Act should stay. I think Republicans are, yes, there's no question the president controls the Republican Party, and we have a great expert here. But I think the country's moving more again towards the center, towards wanting this division to end, bipartisanship to come forward. And McCain really was viewed as the last one of these bipartisan heroes.
Well, Evan, there is, as the governor says, this is weariness. We all hear it. We know it. We probably feel it ourselves. But it tends to be the people on the far left and the far right who go out and vote in these primaries, right? So I just wonder if, we heard Casey allude to this, as Senator Flake said this morning, that the party's going to go the way of the Whigs if we, as a party, meaning the Republican Party, continue to drill down on the base and not try to appeal to the broader electorate.
Yeah, our base is shrinking. I mean, we have lost young Republicans, and of the young Republicans that have stayed, only 57% or over 57% say that they're not very strong Republicans. We're not increasing our standing with minorities and millennials, which are the big voting blocks that we need. We are only appealing in rural areas right now. We're bleeding suburban white women, particularly suburban married women, when they look at this party and they say, we don't like this chaos. And at the same time...
Is it because of Trump that this is... Look, Reince Priebus, whatever you think about his service to the White House, he, as RNC chairman, there was a report about this. He put money behind this very idea that we have to broaden...
And then he put it right in the garbage can. And they thought that, how do you talk to millennials? We're going to do some dank memes. And now this strategy for dealing with millennials? Oh, they're socialists. They just want free stuff. I've never learned or found that you can make someone like you by insulting them constantly. And we need to talk about the issues related to them. Additionally, we need to stick to the party that John McCain set out. And he was an imperfect man, but the party was a party of ideas and principles. Now we have become a party of fealty to one man, and we will go whatever way he wants. If it's we like tariffs one day, great, we love him. And if we hate tariffs the next day, if he says so, we hate him. We'll do whatever he wants. And when you get into a cult of personality, and when Trump has become so toxic to a great portion of the country, it's a big problem. And Republicans, if they lose the House and or other races, they have only themselves to blame. And when we target people who go out and speak out independently, then we are only hurting ourselves, because when we create that echo chamber, we get more Kelly Wards who tweet out disgusting things knowing what they're doing, and add to this era of grievance that we have seen ushered in.
Evan Siegfried, thank you so much. Caitlin Huey-Burns, Governor Richardson, always great to see you. Thank you all for being with us today. Coming up, the man in charge of overseeing federal student loans. He abruptly resigns, but that may not be even the most worrying development when it comes to student debt. We'll explain next in Money, Power, Politics. You're going to want to see this one.